Alright, so guys, for my OG viewers who remember when I used to cover Punishing Grey Raven, I'm sure you guys remember when I moved away from it. And I'm sure you guys remember I made a video called 5 things that I think would make Punishing Grey Raven perfect, or better, or whatever it was that I titled it. But this time around, I'm actually making a top 5 suggestions video for a Kurogames game that I'm not moving away from, that I'm actually very well nestled in and enjoying completely. And that's what this is going to be about. So, I hope you guys enjoy. I'm actually recording this beforehand because I actually forgot to mention this in the beginning of the actual original recording. So, yeah, I'm gonna send you on off over to already recorded Rigashu, and I will see you guys later. Alright, see you guys. Alright, so, we cannot deny whether you love or you hate the game. Wuthering Waves has not only made a lot of progress, but a massive amount of buzz before and after its release. It's only been 3 months, and the amount of quality of life updates, massive amounts of compensation, and fixes to certain issues have all been hashed out in just a short amount of time. Wuthering Waves popped onto the scene saying "I'm him," and then proceeded to release with a variety of bugs, and then proceeded to fix almost all of them just to continue on with "as I was saying." Now, Wuthering Waves is far from perfect, as all games will have its flaws and mechanics that will hold it back. And while I'm not a Chinese bodybuilder like the employees at Kurogames, I'm still fit to talk about ways I think Wuthering Waves can massively improve upon the open world gacha formula and actually do some right and proper innovation in the scene. What's going on, guys? My name's Rigashu, and for the time being on this channel, I'm going to be talking about gachas and potentially news surrounding gachas. If you like what you see and like what you hear, go ahead and like and subscribe. Anyways, let's go right on ahead into let's say, a Nuke's top 5 level of things I think would make Wuthering Waves not only receive a massive improvement, but also make it stand out as potentially being one of the, if not the, best open world gacha game for this year and the next. So to start off these 5 things, number 1, a change of domains. Now, you guys have heard me mention before that when it came to games like Tower of Fantasy, and yes, I know some of y'all might think I'm beating a dead horse here, I thought that it had the makings to be a great game, an outstanding game. Now, it's not to say that the game is super bad. I think that despite its massive size and updates, it just barely reaches the threshold of something that could be really good. And while yes, the world is large, and yes, going to the different realms as these really attractive characters is cool, I more so want to focus on the game modes itself, more specifically one in particular. You see, Wuthering Waves has some very fun game modes in my opinion, but it feels very few. These game modes are just more fun versions than the ones provided in Genshin Impact. But I genuinely believe that adding in game modes similar to some of the ones that appeared in Tower of Fantasy is a really good idea. Now, before anyone says it, I know that people believe that Tower of Fantasy is just an MMORPG with a gacha attached to it, whereas it's actually a gacha game with a hollow shell of what an MMORPG is supposed to be attached to it. Video game semantics aside, however, Wuthering Waves has a domain-styled system that is the same style of system handled in Genshin Impact. These instances are called forgery challenges. You go in, you receive materials for a certain amount of stamina, or wave plates, in Wuthering Waves terms, for fighting some enemies on a small platform and leave. This is something I genuinely believe Wuthering Waves can improve on if they change the way these forgery challenges work, or at the very least, adding on new variants of these forgery challenges. Whenever I played Genshin, I always thought that it was so boring going into these domains to grind these small rooms and leave to get straight to upgrading. And while I do believe that something like that is quite useful and effective for upgrading characters and weapons quickly, I think adding a different version of the mode would be far better to work in conjunction with what they already have. These new versions of forgery challenges that functions like dungeons, for example. You do these longer, maybe even more co-op focused domains, or rather forgery challenges for guaranteed higher level drops. It would add a new layer of fun, especially with a higher difficulty variant of these theoretical quote-unquote dungeon forgery challenges to properly experience alongside friends. While the dungeoning system in Tower of Fantasy wasn't exactly super fun or engaging,
It was the thought that counted, and I feel as though this idea can be translated and executed by Kurogames much better than what Halta Studio could, and sorry to say, they didn't really execute it all that well. Maybe it was just poor level design, or maybe it was just poor optimization of the power scaling of the characters that made these domains so, I feel as though altering these potential newer domains or forgery challenges would introduce fun multiplayer puzzle solving and a better way to link together the community as they put their heads together. I came from games similar to Destiny, doing raids where communication was key and solving puzzles and fighting extremely hard enemies was a major point, and while I'm not saying we need difficult puzzles and enemies to the point where they're so hard that we need a damn in-game chat, but what I am saying is adding a new layer of camaraderie would be a breath of fresh air for an open world gacha like this one. And speaking of extended camaraderie, it leads into my second suggestion, allowing co-op for any quest being done. Now, this one is more so a suggestion I'm making when I have my friends in mind. It may be a small addition, but I feel as though not having multiplayer interrupted by quests would be quite fun, allowing players to play together longer, and if one player completed a story already and simply wanted to see how their friends would experience the story as they joined their world, it would be a great thing. All they would have to do is just join and just sit there and watch them go through it as they assist them through these quests. No added voice lines for co-op, nothing would change for the quest in itself, other than the fact that now you're completing these quests with your friends at your side. Multiplayer game sessions would be so much longer, and people would have an even better reason to be able to stay in each other's worlds without feeling like they have to leave because it would be pointless to stay as soon as a quest gets involved. This small little addition would be able to draw the attention and retention of players much more in my opinion. And now, like I said, I know it seems small, but there are a lot of you out there that would really just enjoy chilling in each other's worlds without having to leave just because one of your friends wants to start a quest, even though you want to continue playing with them. Workarounds for things like spoilers would be that before you join someone's world, you'll receive a warning, indicating whether or not the person you are trying to join is ahead of you in story content, giving you the option to not join or to join anyways, spoilers be damned. All companies like Kurogames and Hoyoverse would really have to do is just cross-reference your achievements and the actual quests that you were able to do in things like your adventure handbook and just overall whatever the equivalent was in Wuthering Waves to determine whether or not you would potentially get spoiled. As I said, this is a small one, but I believe it would just be convenient to constantly stay in someone's world with them, no matter what, with no quest interrupting the flow of your co-op. Number 3 is one that I'm actually a little bit more sentimental of, as I've mentioned before that I've played games like X-Men Rise of Apocalypse and all of the Marvel's Ultimate Alliance games, and so a game mode like this would actually feel really nice to me. Number 3 is special game modes that involve all team members at once. For those of you that have played Aethergazer, and a lot of you that have experienced PGR missions in which all characters are present and fighting at the same time, I feel as though adding game modes or challenges or even just missions in general where you and your select team are all present on the field at once, fighting an enemy or waves of enemies will be quite entertaining. You guys can't deny that it did feel pretty cool whenever we did those Punishing Grey Raven story missions where we were able to fight alongside some of these other characters while they were being controlled by AI. These game modes would be purely for the entertainment aspect of watching all 3 of your characters fighting together side by side. The immersion levels would reach peak dopamine, surely, as some of you would love being able to watch Changli and Jinxie fighting together simultaneously against tacit monsters in these game modes. It would make for amazing looking visuals and outstanding teamwork that could be done alongside the AI that fights alongside you. Now obviously this wouldn't be a main game mode or a main focus. Kurogames would be able to keep the core combat it's built upon and such. I wouldn't even mind if this suggestion would just simply be an event, but I really feel like it could be a hit with the community, and this actually leads into my suggestion for number 4. And number 4 being, add duo ultimates. Obviously there are a lot of characters that are interconnected in lore and through quest, and I feel like something that would make pulling for characters even more enticing and add an overall better flair to the game is if duo ultimates could be triggered between characters, both in single player and multiplayer. allowing people to perform devastating blows with their combined stats of their respective characters. Imagine seeing Jinxie summon Jue as Chong-Li's Phoenix Fire Wings adorns it, as the beam of light that shoots from Jue's mouth is encompassed with Phoenix Fire. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I'm leaping out my chair like too mad if I see some crazy shit like that. But at the end of the day, it is still a gacha game, unfortunately, so adding this would make Kuro more money, as people would feel even more inclined to pull characters, plus co-op would skyrocket as people would literally just play with each other just to perform duo ultimates with each other. How it would work would just be simply a confirmation on a new keybind. If both players confirm they want to duo ultimate while they both have their ultimates, then boom, they'll be able to do it. A short honorary mention before the finale is, please add skins Kurogames. We need Chong-Li in that summer outfit. Finally, at number 5 is hurry up and add alpha to the goddamn game. At number 5, and I know you guys would probably call me cringe, but maybe adding a system where you can find resonators around the map, plus maybe a housing system of some sort for characters or the player to be able to interact with the characters themselves, learn more about them and how they go about their lives when they're not being super badass powerful resonators would be cool. Giving us the opportunity to earn aesthetic rewards, titles, and maybe even buffs for developing a deeper relationship with these characters. Having the baseline leveling up a sort of friendship symbol with them that simply unlocks lore to read or hear them read out is not really enough for me. I feel like interacting with these characters would be a lot more meaningful and fun. Take for example, in things like Snowbreak and I believe even Girls Frontline, they allow you to interact with the characters in a dormitory-like space. And now I'm not saying that we need Kurogames to perform some down bad things in the dormitory for the characters, but what I am saying is something like that would be interesting. You know, being able to play that game with Chong-Li and just asking her questions or talking to her as you level up your relationship is something that I feel like a lot of people would enjoy. Being able to just enjoy the presence of being around Yinlin with her weird puppets or whatever, or going to help her on a job or something, as it would unlock various little side quests that you would be able to do to increase relationships. I feel like something like that would be very, very, very well received. And instead of locking Asterites to earn behind these quests, we could earn other things, so that people don't feel forced to do them all, since there would be no currency behind it. It would simply just be an optional thing. Maybe just added relationship points to simply get to know the characters. Maybe even do a little bit of what Nikke does, and whenever you level up a relationship level with a character, their stats will increase by a little bit. Well, in Nikke they increased exponentially, but obviously I wouldn't want it to increase exponentially in Wuthering Waves. But then again, it probably would be pretty cool to see your character become stronger the stronger your bond becomes with said character. But that's about all the suggestions that I could really think of at the moment. Well, no, that's a lie. There's a lot of suggestions that I am able to think up, but as for right now, I just want to limit it to these 5. Maybe I'll make another video talking about even more things I believe that Kurogames could add to Wuthering Waves to improve the game overall, to be able to make it more engaging, to be able to make it even more enjoyable than what it already is. I also wanted to thank you guys for all of the support that I've been receiving. All of you new faces and all of you returning faces that have been coming onto this channel and watching my videos, I really, really do appreciate it. It's been beautiful, is the only thing that I can really say. I'm glad that you guys enjoy my stupid jokes. I'm glad that you guys enjoy the way that I make my videos, and I'm glad that you guys actually agree with a lot of the things that I'm saying. But aside from that, let's get the soft stuff out of the way. Let me know what you guys think. Did you agree with anything on this list, or no? Let me know in the comments below. But, as always, I wanted to thank you guys for watching once again, and I want you all to take care, and peace.